Chris Brown, that's my name. I got a celebrity name. I'm sick of having this name, man. For I be having all these useless conversations, people always crazy. Oh, Chris Brown, Chris Brown. Can you sing and dance like Chris Brown? Like, no, but I'm violent like he is, though. You know what I mean? I do got a temper, though, so keep playing with me, bro.
Okay, are you just literally sick of people bringing this up? Tell me the truth.
Yeah, it's definitely getting very old at this point. I'm polite, so when people crack jokes about it, I'm like, yeah. But a lot of times, I'm over it at this point.
Have you thought about changing your name?
I have thought about it.
Like a stage name or something?
Not necessarily a stage name, maybe just taking off the Brown and maybe going by Chris B or my middle name. But I mean, I kind of that's my name, like people have always called me Chris Brown because it's always been a lot of Chris's.
How long have you been a comedian and what led you to being a performer?
I think I always kind of had a sense of humor. I've always kind of used like humor and comedy to kind of like ease the tension and just deal with, uncomfortable situations. I feel like I've always been a comedian. I just kind of like decided to pursue it professionally.
How do you make I'm not a comedian. How do you make something funny?
How do you make something funny?
Yeah.
First of all, it has to be something that you have an emotional connection to. If I don't care about it, then it's hard for me to make it funny. It has to be something that you have an emotional attachment to, and you just have to have you just being honest about how you feel about something. I think that's truly like the way to make something funny. Just being honest,
It's weird. Maybe this is just me. You tell me. The times I've interviewed comedians, I've interviewed quite a few at this point. I'm really amazed how serious y'all are. You know what I mean? Like you expect I'm going to interview a comedian just ha 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 all the time, but it feels like, and tell me if I'm off on this, that there's a certain vibe of kind of this tone of I'm not playing around.
Yeah, I mean probably because that's what we have to do, consistently, maybe on a daily basis, so often. So when we're not on stage, we might just be stressed out because the business is so hard. I think we probably just you constantly thinking about trying to work and get gigs, so it just might be the business aspect of most comedians where when we're not on stage, then it's no time for games. We need to find work. We need to continue to grow.
All right, I have to ask you these, man. You knew they were coming. Rapid fire. Chris Brown's singing and dancing were strongly influenced by Michael Jackson. Who has been some of the biggest influences on you in comedy in your life?
Bill Burr, Patrice O'Neal, Mike Epps, Roy Wood Jr., Keith Robinson, Lenny Marcus. These are guys that I had the pleasure of being able to come in contact with that definitely had a big impact on my comedy career, how I see comedy, how I view comedy.
And what's your if you were to just summarize the biggest takeaway when you're looking at somebody you admire, what do you pull from that?
Honesty.
I'm asking you some deep ass questions. You were not.
I mean, these are really good questions. I would say honesty. When I'm looking at some of my favorite comedians, I think the biggest takeaway is, them being honest or them talking about things that you can tell that they have a strong emotional connection to.
You said honest twice now. That's a thing.
I think honesty is very important in stand-up comedy, man. I think crowds can tell when you're being dishonest or when you're faking it. So I think that's, you want to try to be as honest as possible,
Chris Brown's nickname is Breezy, but he's also been called Charlie Brown, Boo Boo, and Sizzle. What are some of your past and present nicknames?
I've been called Breezy, C Brown, C Bugs, Brown. People just call me Brown.
Do you like these names?
I mean, they're cool. What's funny? I'm older than Chris Brown. I remember when Chris Brown first came out.
You're young. You look young. How old are you?
I'm 43 years old.
Stop.
Yeah, I'm 43 years old.
I was straight up thought you're in your 20s or something, dude. No way.
I appreciate that. That means a lot. But yeah, I'm 43. I was maybe 22 years old when Chris Brown first came out. I remember looking at a Source magazine and seeing an article about this artist named Chris Brown. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was like, oh, this dude's got the same name as me. And then he just began to blow up. I'm the original Chris Brown.
That's why you were he should change his name.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he probably should change his name for other reasons, but I'm not going to talk about that. But
Chris Brown used to own 14 Burger King franchises.
Okay.
What is your favorite burger chain, and what would you put on your ultimate burger?
My favorite burger chain, I would probably have to go with
I'm
maybe
waiting for you to say
five
the right one.
napkin, five napkin burger. I mean, I don't even consider that a chain. I sound so uppity right now. Like, yeah, I like uppity. I sound like a.
Have you had In-N-Out, dude?
And I've had In-N-Out Burger once. In-N-Out Burger is cool. My favorite burger chain. Like, I just think about a burger that I just crave. I mean, sometimes I crave an old fashioned McDonald's cheeseburger.
You are offending me. You are offending me to my
I'm
core.
sorry.
dude. McDonald's over In-N-Out?
In-N-Out. I mean, I'm in New York City, so we don't have it, and I might have tried it. I don't think we have access to In-N-Out. And I've tried
God.
In-N-Out Burger, and it was fine. It's not memorable.
This
Five
interview
Guys.
just took a dark ass turn, dude.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I apologize.
What would you put on your ultimate burger?
I put on my ultimate burger. Ultimate. I mean, I'm a regular schmegular. So just lettuce, tomatoes, onions, cheese. Nice bun.
Pickles?
Pickles. I actually like a pickle on the side as opposed to pickle on my burger. Yeah, yeah. Yep. And yeah, lettuce, tomato, ketchup, just a little bit of mustard, a little bit of mayonnaise, more ketchup.
Spicy mustard?
Spicy? I think that's unnecessary.
I
Spicy,
think you said
spicy mustard is just uncomfortable. In my opinion, it's like
Man,
it's just mustard. It doesn't need to be
it
annoying.
has personality in it. So
What spicy
anyway.
mustard?
Yeah.
Spicy mustard. It's just mustard with an attitude for no reason. I just be calm with regular mustard.
But it's being honest. It's being honest with who it is.
Is it really though, or is it doing too much?
There's people right now that don't agree with me personally, or don't like me, or they think I stand for something else. Right now, you get what I'm saying? So, like, I can't dwell on that. Like, whatever it's a cancel culture or media, if you're not strong or you ain't coming from a struggle background, like, you ain't gonna be able to survive the shit. You gonna start looking crazy.
Chris Brown has dealt with a lot of criticism.
Okay.
How do you handle criticism?
How do I handle criticism?
Yep.
I can't say that I've had to deal with the same amount of criticism that Chris Brown has had to deal with. So, I mean, how do I deal with criticism? I try to take it in stride. I try to take heed to it, and try to take it into consideration. I think we all get criticized. But yeah, I try to take it into consideration and maybe try to. But I also think about who I'm taking into consideration the criticism from. Because, like taking criticism from certain people, it's just like, all right, well, no disrespect to this person, but like, I ain't really, you ain't
That's a little
necessarily somebody that, I feel as though might have the best take on,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the source. That is some words of wisdom. Last thing here, we have a whole bunch of entertainers, comedians, folks who are watching this. And I love
Okay.
asking at the end just some words of advice from some creatives who are watching, because better than anybody, there's so much work, there's so much grind, and sometimes it pays off, and sometimes you're wondering if it's ever the hell going to pay off. So what words of wisdom do you have for anyone watching this?
Take care of yourself, mentally, spiritually, physically. I think that's essential in order to be enabled to create. You have to be in good shape. You gotta be happy, or you gotta be at peace. So I would say number one, and number two is just think about like really why you doing what you're doing. And continue to remind yourself what your why is. Like why. Just don't quit, man. It's a long grind, but if you don't quit, things will work out.
That's Chris Brown, y'all. The real Chris Brown. Thank you so much for your time.
No
today.
disrespect to the other Chris Brown. I'm not gonna say you the fake Chris Brown. I don't want no problem. You might end up bumping heads. And you like, that interview you said I was fake Chris Brown. You're a little tough too. I don't want no smoke.